Hello, Nicola again, and welcome back. You might have just jumped straight on from emotional into physical, or you might have took a wee break for a week. I hope you enjoyed the input and emotions in terms of gaining a better understanding of how your thoughts and feelings really impact your day to day and what you can necessarily do about that. So, hopefully, that's created a state for reflection and also help you to understand yourself a wee bit better. The White House guided visualization, I hope you gave that a bash as well. I can't remember if I said this or not, but sometimes when you're doing those types of visualization, particularly if you're not used to it, that might have brought up some discomfort for you and you might have not wanted to kind of carry it through. That's also okay. So that's why we start off with talking about breathing rather than going into kind of meditation, because sitting with yourself can be really, really uncomfortable if it's not something that you've done before, and it can feel quite scary. And the reason for that is that the body doesn't feel safe. So the mind is telling the body that it's not safe to sit and relax and kind of daydream here, because that big tiger is chasing you down the road. So if you experience that, that's totally normal. What I would encourage you to do is practice this, the guided visualization, or even just keep with the breath work and the breathing, but do it every day. And what will happen is the discomfort levels will come down. So it's kind of just tolerating that discomfort for a few minutes a day, just until the body starts to get the message that actually I'm safe and those stress hormones can stop getting pumped out, which is the kind of ideal situation. So that guided meditation or guided visualization is there for you to use at any time. It's one of my own particular favourites, which is why it's there. But if perhaps the speaker or the content just didn't work for you, not everybody also is visual. So sometimes people really struggle with the kind of visualization part of it. So again, go back to just the simple breath work. That will help bring the stress levels down. We're all different, and that's why I thought it's really useful, because sometimes people, come on and they'll be taught a visualization and they'll be like, I don't feel anything, I don't connect to that. That's okay. This is about finding what works for you. So if that didn't work for you, then go onto YouTube, have a look at guided visualizations and find somebody that works for you. So there's a guy he's actually a hypnotist that I listen to all the time, a guy called Michael Seeley, and there's just something about his voice that just like puts me into like an instant state of relaxation. And then there's other ones that I can listen to and I think, well, that's kind of grating on me a wee bit. So it's just about finding what works for you. So anyway, I hope that was useful. This week's input is going to be on the physical part of our well-being. So there's no sort of health without mental health, but also our physical health is really, really important. And how do our bodies respond to that upset and change? So that's what we're going to focus on today. So what does that look like? So we're going to cover a number of different aspects. We're going to talk about diet and nutrition, physical well-being, exercise and activity, relaxation and sleep. These are the kind of core components of physical well-being. Now, I'm a CBT therapist, I'm not a nutritionist, but what we're covering here is the kind of basics of taking care of ourselves. Now, as I said before, this might be stuff that you already know, this might be new information, or it might just be a reminder. I tend to find this is usually a reminder. We kind of all know how to take care of our physical well-being, but in the kind of scheme of life and the work and the families and the juggle, some of this stuff just gets pushed to the side. So rather than making yourself a kind of healthy, nutritious meal, might be like a quick microwave dinner that maybe doesn't serve you as well, because then your energy levels get depleted and your nutrition and your your kind of vitamin levels are not where they should be. So the reason we bring all this stuff up isn't to kind of batter you over the head that you're not taking care of yourself. It slips, it's easy done, and we're all guilty of it. So this is my little prod and gentle reminder to you that this stuff's important, and it's important to take care of yourself. So the first thing we're going to talk about is diet and nutrition. So, it is really, really important to eat well, not just for your physical health, but also for your mental health. Having a really kind of varied, balanced diet full of the nutrients that you need really helps not just the body kind of grow and work throughout the day, but it also helps the body when you go to sleep to rest and repair, because that's essentially what sleep is for. It's to help the body rest, process and repair. And what you eat can directly impact your mood and your energy levels and your health. Now, one of the reasons I bring this up is, I treat a lot of anxiety, and I think I might have even mentioned this in a previous webinar, that people who were, I had a particular client, but to be fair, this has happened on many occasions, people being treated for quite severe anxiety and also drinking really high caffeinated drinks. I won't mention any brand names, but high caffeinated soft drinks, lots of coffee, because they were trying to counteract the lack of sleeping, which is counterproductive, because if you're full of caffeine, you can't sleep either. So it's really being mindful of what you're putting in. So for me personally, I used to be like a Diet Coke addict. Like, I could drink 6 cans of that a day, and that was because I needed that energy to kind of push me through. And it did it. What I didn't realise was how much it was impacting my sleep, because I would wake up on every sleep cycle. So you're meant to have 4 sleep cycles, and I would wake up at the end of each one. You're not actually meant to wake up. You go into a kind of more awakened state, but not fully awake, and that interrupts the rest and repair. So caffeine's really, really not the devil, it's not, so it's okay to have like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, but if you're having it in excess, then it can make you feel irritable, it can make you feel anxious, and for some people they start to experience things like heart palpitations. Obviously things like refined sugars, so if you find, again, what I see a lot of is people on the quick fix. So, you're in a rush to get to work, you're in a rush because you don't get a proper lunch break, you're in a rush when you get home, and life is full of a lot of pressures, and it's like grabbing something quick because the body needs fuel, and that sugar hit instantly gives you that, which is, sometimes okay in that moment, but I guess if it's kind of where you operate from, over time you're going to start to develop health problems related to that, because the body's not designed to cope with refined sugar all day every day. Things like junk food as well, listen, there's, I think particularly with our kind of young people, having a KFC or a McDonald's is kind of the norm. And again, it's that quick hit, it's fast, and it's also okay. All of this stuff is okay, but it's just about kind of moderating and making sure it's not how you live. So just again, be mindful of that. The way I kind of like to look at it is your body is like your vehicle, like that's your car, and it's what we eat and what we drink is how we feel it. So if you feel tired, lethargic, you don't have a lot of energy, a good place to start is looking at your diet, because when we look at clients who are, have been stressed for a really long period of time, and that actually has then subsequently developed into depression, we always look at all this stuff. This is the stuff that we do first. Not necessarily would a GP look at that, but we will look at getting the foundation stuff right before we get into, if there's trauma or other difficulties that need to be worked through. Because once you get the baseline, you're working from a much steadier place. So that's the kind of stuff to be mindful of, and then having more. I'm sure you know all this. Eating well, eating more balanced. For some people, they don't know how to put together a kind of a meal like that. It's not been something that's maybe been demonstrated to them. It's not, how they generally would live life. So get curious about that, like I love cooking. I like to get my kids involved in what we're kind of eating. We have a discussion about the daily menu, what's happening for dinner. If you're the kind of key responsible person in your household for making and providing meals, get others involved. So, there's loads of stuff on, again, like YouTube and TikTok, where people are really creative with really, really healthy but super tasty food. So it doesn't need to just be like a bland salad, like nobody wants to live like that. You want to have tasty, good food. So I'd encourage you, if that's not something that you feel is strong for you, then to activate that, to start looking into what can I do and do it small. You don't have to overhaul your whole diet, but what changes could you make? What changes do you want to make? And what do you think, if you make a change, Now, you know, a short change, maybe going from 4 cups of coffee to 2 cups of coffee, you know, over a month, and then gradually reducing that, or maybe having less fast food. What might that feel like for you, and how will that improve not just your physical health but also your mental health? So it's really important. So top tips: drink lots of water, you know, maybe not so much the Diet Coke or other caffeinated brands. Try and get your five a day in. I do have a wee laugh with clients and say they can't all come from wine. Um, Try not to skip breakfast. Again, you know, that breakfast is important because you've had a period of rest and repair. So I really struggle with breakfast in the morning. It takes me a wee while to get going, but I don't eat first thing when I wake up, but I do eat within the hour. And I do feel like that does start to fuel my energy levels. So even if it's just something like a banana or an apple rather than, you know, a huge big sit down breakfast meal, it's still good enough to get your fuel and get your body moving again. A wee trick can be planning your meals ahead for the week. So, you know, if you've got a really quite a demand on your week, you know, it might be right, well, I maybe order my online shopping and I might pre-prep, you know, 5 meals so that you know when you come home of an evening that that's done and you're not having to think about it. So it's taking a wee bit of time maybe at one part of your week, maybe at the weekend to prepare for that, but then that's it done for the rest of the week. So and having things like healthy snacks in hand, and what we call good mood food. So if it looks like how it started, that's usually good mood food. So it's just kind of avoiding that processed stuff will definitely help you. So, on to exercise and activity. Now, the reason why this is important is exercise gives you what we call the happy hormones. So, you get actually quite a lot of reward chemically from doing exercise. Our bodies it's really great, and you know, you don't have to go to like a HIIT class or you know, something really exhausting. You can just go for a nice walk. Now I hear a lot of procrastination in this kind of particular area, and particularly if you've got maybe health issues or time is a real big issue, you don't have a lot of time. There is things that you can do that don't take a lot of time. So I'm also a really busy person. I don't have a lot of free time. You know, I've got children, I've got a home, I've got a business to run, I see clients, I have a huge team to look after. So what can I do for exercise and activity? Do I have time to go to the gym for an hour or a couple of hours out of my day? No, I don't. I really don't. I just realistically, you know, come 8 o'clock at night, I'm exhausted and I don't really have the time to do that. So what I started to do was look at physical health in a different way. So I didn't like the gym. That wasn't really a thing for me. Classes didn't always work around my schedule. But what I loved is dancing, and I like to have that kind of re-release. So there is again like tons of videos on YouTube where you're just kind of dancing along with somebody, some good music, and I do that for 15 minutes. So I don't do that for an hour, but I do it every day. And at some point, when it's in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, it just gives me that absolute boost that I need of these happy hormones: serotonin, dopamine, your endorphins, and your oxytocin. They're the happy hormones that we need, and you get some of them from connecting with other people. You get them from help you kind of stabilize your moods. You get the reward chemical dopamine, and you know, obviously these endorphins are really an important part of the exercise. So I can't stress enough, like, it doesn't have to be hard work. I think that's what puts people off exercise, you know, because it, again, a wee bit like it just becomes like a bottom of the list activity, doesn't it? Like, because I've got this to do, and I've got this report to write, and I've got this email to send, and I've got this and that to do. And if you don't really enjoy exercise, then it feels like an absolute chore. So, and I'm with you, you know, I used to be a runner and then I had injuries, and that was like the thing that I enjoyed, and then I couldn't really do it anymore. And then, you know, I like to go out for a walk, but again, you know, I live in Glasgow, it's not always the most pleasant weather, and it's quite dark in the winter, so we can use all the excuses we want, really. So I found a way to give myself that physical fitness, that physical exercise, but doing something that I actually really enjoy doing. So figure out, what do I enjoy doing? What will make me feel good. So if it's just banging on the tunes and dancing about your living, you don't even need to have somebody guiding you with actual, things to move. Or is it going for a swim or a walk or a run or going to a class or going meeting a friend for a walk as well can also be a nice wee activity. So I think all we would really encourage at this point, if that's something that slid, try and find a way to make that fit in for you. There's also a brilliant guy on YouTube, and he's called Get Fit with Rick, and I think he's in Dubai. I think he's based in Dubai. So he does videos based on steps. So see if your fitness level is like 0, and you're really struggling mobility wise to get out and about, this guy's stuff is really good because he's just basically walking. You can take as much energy or not, and he does little different videos, so you can do like 2,500 steps right up to your kind of 10, 15, 20,000 steps. So the kind of basis of health and fitness is that you should move to the tune of about 10,000 steps a day. Most people really struggle with that, particularly people that are desk bound for the day. So you see, obviously people that have now kind of incorporated walking machines into their working from home places. And that again is not realistic for everybody. I'm not sure my therapy clients would enjoy me being on a treadmill whilst talking to them. So that's a great way, and he's got a good energy as well. So that's a great way to get your steps in. If you're not doing anything else and your fitness and mobility is maybe a bit challenging just now, that's a great way to get started. So I would encourage you to find something that works for you. And when we talk about those other happy hormones, we're also talking about different things that you can do. So pleasure activities and master activities. So those 4 happy hormones require some other stuff. So activities that we enjoy for the sake of the activity itself. So just what I'm saying, is it dancing, is it painting? This doesn't necessarily need to come back to exercise, but what do you do for pleasure? What just brings you joy? So for me, it's, I love to read. I'm a really active reader. I like to do creative things. I like to meet up with friends for a coffee. As I say, I like to go for a walk. So where do you take pleasure? And I think when we're really stressed or we're feeling like teetering into stress, pleasure kind of goes out the window as well. And it's like we don't have time to have joy anymore. So think about, what did you used to like, if that slid off your agenda? What brings you joy, and what gives you a chuckle? I was at a comedy show at the weekend, and it was just great to be in an environment where it was just about joy and just about laughter and just about silliness and fun, and that's really important, is because life can feel quite serious and heavy, and it's getting back to the pleasure. The mastery activities are things that, within your work or within sports, that involve developing a sort of set of skills. So it gives you a sense of achievement, that you've accomplished something, and that gives you another wee kind of hormone boost. So that's really for you to think about, what's your goal really, whether that's in your work or in your personal life, but what is there something, a skill that you want to develop? Because there's a guy, I don't know if you've heard of him before, a guy called Tony Robbins. Before I became a therapist, I was a big follower of his, and he always says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And it just a wee statement that just always stuck with me. Like, so, never kind of I don't mean not staying still, but, always trying to find ways of developing ourselves is really important to our own human development, and that does in turn take away from stress. So it's about finding something that you like, enjoy, but it also gives you a sense of achievement once you've accomplished it. So have a think about, is there something like that going on in your life? Is there something that you want to master? Have you set that up? And it doesn't need to be a big major thing, it can be something small. For you to see what that feels like. So these are wee tips and tricks to kind of see how. So again, like, there's a wee bit of information in terms of what pleasure can look like. So, hobbies, reading, TV, dancing, arts and crafts, cooking, walking, social activities, pets, romance. Can I get a wee bit of romance? Sensory experiences as well. Listening to nice music, taking a bath, pleasant smells. So just and just finding the joy in those moments, because they're really, really important. Especially over the last couple of years where we've been restricted and we've not been able to do that. So that's why there's been so much difficulty within people's mental health. This is actually one of our therapists. She was running a marathon. What an absolute achievement that was. But setting that kind of goal for yourself, setting that task for yourself, and mastering that task is how we feel good about ourselves. I don't worry if you don't always master things, because I'm sometimes a bit of a stopper and starter, and things that. So I really enjoy writing, and kind of that creative side. And again, sometimes that falls a wee bit by the wayside because of other things. But when to pick that back up is when you notice what we've talked about before is, oh right, hang on, my stress levels are going back up. Where am I on that thermometer? I'm getting into the red zone. So it's kind of taking yourself back to, right, how do I take care of that? What have I dropped in order to manage that stress? And what can I bring back in that's going to help me actually navigate the stress going forward? So that pleasure and mastery is really important, as is the just the exercise and activity, really getting yourself going again. And the biggie, sleep, sleep, sleep. So I think, I can't even remember the statistic now, because I do a lot of work with young people who really don't sleep very much at all. And if you don't sleep at all, this is the kind of trade-off. It does weaken your immune system, your hormones get thrown off, your body can't rest and repair. So that is where you start to see, if over a long period of time, if you don't sleep, that's when you start to get sick, feel sluggish, feel kind of agitated. And what things are stopping you from getting a restful sleep? So first of all, what's your bedroom like? What is it like in your bedroom? Is it tidy? Is it, is there space for air? Is it comfortable? Do you have a nice, comfortable mattress, pillow, duvet, right temperature in the room? Has it been aired? I know that sounds really like simple stuff, but actually the body does require some comfort in order to get some sleep. I also have a bit of a thing for, your bedroom is for two things. It's for sleeping and sex. So it's not for watching TV. It's not for, you can potentially maybe read there, but it really should be a place that you get into bed to go to sleep, as opposed to kind of lying there watching TV or reading books, or because it starts to send a message that to the brain that this isn't where you sleep. So yeah, so for me, the bedroom is really just as a haven for just to sleep. I know in personal people's life, they have to escape each other, and sometimes the bedroom becomes somewhere that you do watch TV or laptops. But ideally, you want that to be off, potentially maybe an hour before sleep, and before you're planning to go to sleep, so that the light from the TV, same with phones, iPads, you've got blue light that activates the hormone in the morning that that helps your brain wake up. So that's telling your brain, if it's midnight and you're in that blue light state, that your brain's like, yeah, it's time to get up. So that's why you can't sleep if you use your phone or you're staring at your phone. Now you can get glasses for that if that's important to you, and that blocks out the blue light. But I just try not use any kind of tech for that last hour or two. Obviously things like not drinking caffeine or anything like that after 6 o'clock, not eating really late at night. And also other things, like if you are, again, particularly stressed and you're overthinking and you're anxious, that can really stop you from getting that quality of sleep. So what you can do to improve your sleep, so go to bed at the same time each night, right? So don't lie in your bed. So if you can't get to sleep after half an hour, get up and do something really mundane. Don't try not to put any lights on, something really mundane where your brain isn't going to get too activated. So that could be maybe doing the dishes or something like that. As I said, don't eat or drink too much. If you take naps, keep them short. Listen, I'm a big fan of the old naps, but if I was to sleep for too long, if I had a nap, then my sleep is impacted of an evening. That exercising regularly will tire the body out, will help with that, and develop, kind of rituals before going to bed. So, whether that's having a shower, preparing, moisturising, whatever you do normally before you go to bed. So spend a bit of time getting ready for bed. Keep that bedroom nice and relaxing, and go to bed in a dark, quiet room that's just not too hot or not too cold, Goldilocksy. But seriously, this that is really important. Sleep is just so underrated. Like, a lot of people, this is a base, and this is why we go through this basic foundational stuff of what could be impacting you, because when people are stressed and anxious, sleep goes out the window, exercise goes out the window, eating goes out the window, and then we start surviving on caffeinated drinks and processed food, and we're not sleeping well, we don't exercise well. So it's really important. If you sleep well, great, keep doing what you're doing, but if there's things to be improved there, just give it a tackle. So here's some different things that might help you with sleeping. So there's calming sounds. I'm going to put these on another link so that you can actually access them on the next page. And Stephen Fry's Blue Gold is a nice sleep story. I think you'll really enjoy that. And then a guided sleep meditation as well. So a few wee tools there to help with sleeping. And lastly, we go on to relaxation. So again, I think I've mentioned it a few times. The body needs to rest, and it needs to relax in order to repair itself, but it also needs to feel safe to be able to do that. So that's why we say things like have a bath, or spend some time, listening to music or reading, whatever helps you come down of a day. It's really, really important to find some time. And what I mean by this is guilt-free time. So I don't know about you, right? But I know about people. And having time for yourself to relax culturally almost is like against the law and the rules. Like, people are like, yeah, I need to put that lotion on, and I need to do this, and I need to. Do you? So can you have half an hour? So you've took half an hour here to listen to me, which is great, thanks. Always appreciate you turning up. But what can you do to relax? Where's your time for you? And if you notice, because you might find when you do things that for your own self to relax, that you do feel guilty. And that's okay, but keep doing the relaxing and start enjoying the relaxing, because life is not supposed to be the big chore. And there's big chores to be done, but being able to relax and really practicing that and enjoying that and having that, I carve that out for myself every single day. And the challenge that I think I had in the beginning was I felt selfish, because other people need me and my kids need me. But I'm actually, what the realisation came to me was, I'm really no good for anybody if I don't take care of me. And I'd like to offer that to you. If you don't take care of you, you're not going to be any good to anybody else either. So it's really, really important to find some time to relax. So when you come out of this, there'll also be um, a wee relaxation exercise as well. And again, you can do your own research, find things that work for you. But yeah, this is, just another type of relaxation that will hopefully help you. So anyway, I hope today's been useful. What we've covered off in terms of physical well-being, we've talked about diet and nutrition, why that's important. We've talked about exercise and activity, why that's important. We've talked about sleep, and we've talked about relaxation. What I would encourage you to do then is have a consideration at this point of, is there any of these areas for you that you need to improve upon? Is there something there that you can improve upon? And is there something there that you want to work on? Because this is your journey, so everything might be peachy your end, and that's great. But if there's something there to be worked on, then it's just about having an honest conversation with yourself to say, right, well, what is that going to be? and what am I going to do about that? How am I going to integrate that into my day to day? So I would encourage you to make that commitment to yourself. Get your notebook and say, right, well, this week I'm going to focus on diet and nutrition. Don't try and do it all at once. You know, if we've arrived here and this is all new information and all this stuff needs looked at, pick one thing. That's it. Pick one thing and do that for 3 months, 90 days. Then pick something else. Do that for 90 days. That's how you change habits. If you do too much, it's highly likely that you'll not stick to it because it's just too much change, and but that's just how human nature works. So pick one thing and do small incremental changes at a time. If you need any support with this particular exercise, because I realise that this can feel quite tricky, particularly if all of this stuff needs a wee bit of an overhaul for you. That's also okay. Get in touch, and we can even just have a session to go through the areas and really just pick out what might work better for you, kind of, and just do a bit of planning. But if you're good at that stuff already, that's great. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this input, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take good care, and thanks as always.